News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pollock, your host for the evening. Let's see, Maria's up in Tonopah working and is trying to stay warm up there. Hopefully she'll be back next week or the week after Christmas. This will be our pre-Christmas show. That's why I have the Christmas things up here. Tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about a company that does a lot for adults and for the adolescents in here, the company called Westcare. Someone who I've been involved with for the last 4 or 5 years, and I've worked with the kids and I've worked with the adults, and now we're going to be looking at what Tony Mendoza, our featured guest tonight, is going to be doing with, it's called Positive Action, and you work with, what is it, 12 to 18-year-olds?
That's pretty close to the age. It flexes a little bit, but that's our main focus there.
And what you've got a grant for, it started with Francie, Methodologies, I think it's called, it started out with?
Yes, absolutely. We at Westcare, we operate under various grants. The Methodologies program, which is one of the programs that operates under a specific grant, which is provided by the Nye Counties Coalition. So.
Right. And you've been doing a lot of things with the videos and the audio and videos, but that's because you have a little bit of a background with that. I believe you're the program director for High Desert Shorts, it's called?
Absolutely. I am the program director of the High Desert Shorts International Film Festival. I've been doing that now for about 3 or 4 years. Besides that, I'm also a film student. I shot a feature film when I got back from Afghanistan in 2010. I was able to secure distribution last year at the American Film Market. So my background is more film and things. When Francie, she stood it up, was more focused towards theater. We're beginning to shift that a little bit now towards more digital media.
And that's quite exciting for the kids to see some of the equipment that you have there too.
Oh, absolutely. They're real excited.
That's a real good future for the kids to go into, and that'll be a good learning experience for them. We've had, I think it was last week we had a little bit on the news about some of the things that you're doing with the Westcare with the kids. What was the... it dealt with prescription pills, was it?
Absolutely. Because of the Christmas season, we definitely want to keep the kids active in doing various things. So what we created was a public service announcement, a PSA, on the dangers of prescription drug abuse. So.
Okay, let's look at the clip with Deanna as she introduced Tony, and this is the way it ran last week.
If you're having problems with prescription drug abuse, or you suspect someone you know and love is having problems with them, there's people to contact. You can contact Westcare or even the Nye County Sheriff's Office. We're going to speak to Tony Mendoza about a PSA that's airing here on KPVM.
This first piece is a PSA, public service announcement, on the dangers of prescription drug abuse. What we have is our Methodologies group, which is a group of kids, high school and junior high kids interested in theater. They put together close to a 2-minute PSA with a Christmas setting discussing the ill effects of prescription drug abuse. So.
I know that it's becoming more prevalent talking about prescription drug abuse, and people are starting to realize that, in fact, kids can get these drugs right from their parents, right out of their cabinets there, and sometimes they're not even aware.
Absolutely, especially here in Pahrump, we're continually doing sensing sessions and just talking to various groups of people, like kids and adults, in regards to what they feel is going on and with the law enforcement here. And prescription drugs is very prevalent in addition to methamphetamine use out here in Pahrump. So we definitely want to go ahead and address that in a manner, positive manner that informs, the ill effects of doing that. So,
well, let's watch that PSA right now.
It was a beautiful December afternoon at the North Pole, and Christmas was approaching. In Santa's workshop, the elves were hammering away at disassembled toys, preparing them for Santa's annual sleigh ride. But all was not well in Santa's workshop, for one elf, George, was under the influence of prescription drugs.
Ow, what's the matter with you, George? Come a hand.
Sorry, it must be the prescription pills I'm using.
Pills? What do you need pills for?
George, how did you get your hands on those pills?
Jasmine!
Well, his back was hurting the other day, and I had some pills, so I gave him some.
Georgie, Georgie, Georgie. You know you're not supposed to take other people's prescription pills.
I know, boss. It's just...
You're just nothing, Georgie. Taking certain types of medicine without a doctor's prescription is wrong. If you want a nice gift from Santa Claus, you'll see a doctor before putting any medicine into your body. You do want to be good, don't you?
For more information on prescription drug abuse, you can contact Westcare, or you can contact the Nye County Sheriff's Office 751-7000 to dispose of your prescription drugs. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
Well, that was the first time I saw that. That was entertaining, and you don't have to give them helium anymore. You could change their voices and.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. All that digital recording out, being able to take it in post and just change the pitch a little bit. So.
Oh, that's great. And how many takes did that take?
You know, we worked maybe 2 hours. That was a real runaround shoot. 19 different camera setups. We shot it in about 2.5 hours.
Oh, great. So the kids have that underneath their belt for their resumes and stuff. Any of them hankering to do something like that?
A lot of the kids in that program are really theater driven. And, you know, they're always interested in new and different things. Again, they're beginning to get experience to the digital side, more of the theater performing. So it's a growing experience for all of them right now.
Yeah, that's a great learning experience, yeah. And how many kids you got involved with that?
Well, with this particular commercial, we had probably about 12 or 13 kids, including my own children, that were involved. We usually have anywhere between 9 and 11 that come to our methodologies program once a week down there at Westcare.
And you go to different places too, don't you?
We will be right now because we're revamping the program. They all just come down to Westcare on Wednesdays, and that's where we do a lot of our production. So.
Okay. And there's another clip we had. Well, actually, it's about 10 minutes long. It's a little bit more intense, and that deals with domestic violence. And is that what is that for? What did you produce that for?
Well, what this domestic violence is a new campaign that Westcare is wanting to begin to get involved with. We don't have any formal programming yet. But in addition to Westcare, the 9 Counties Coalition, one of the requirements for myself was to begin a new campaign. And so that lined up with where myself and a counselor that you'll see down there at Westcare, his name's Arturo Gonzalez, we both have, and I don't want to say an interest, but we do have a concern for domestic violence and how that goes hand in hand with drug abuse. So there were a couple clients that were with Westcare that have graduated the drug court program, and they share some real intimate stories. There's a lot of courage talking about some of their own things, negative things they've done in the past, and how that started and how drugs perpetuated this type of behavior. So.
And what's the audience for? What was it going to be like? Are you going to give that out to the different schools? To the who would be the audience for this?
It would be more community leaders and things like that, people that are involved with helping other folks. A lot of the community that is involved with drug court right now. It's a little bit rougher. It's a little bit more edgier. depending who you ask, I mean, I would show my kids this, but because of the content of their stories and things that they experience, some people may be a little concerned, with what they hear. So.
Okay, well, let's go to it. I heard that in the background at work. I haven't seen it yet, so if you bear with us in just a second, we'll show you that. And it's about 10 minutes long, and this is on domestic violence.
My name is Arturo Gonzalez. I am a substance abuse counselor here at Westcare. I deal with male clients, in some cases with women. I do have co-ed groups. I also deal with adolescents as well.
My first experience with abuse was my mother went through it. I've seen her all my life since I've lived with her. The husband that she was with abused her. They got into fights all the time. They'd get drunk or do whatever they were doing and they'd be fighting. We'd wake up and they're fighting. We have no idea what for. And I remember seeing my mom with the black eye one day and her door was broken. That's what I grew up with, was seeing her get abused. And
I was exposed to domestic violence by my father. He was an alcoholic. He was very abusive to my mother, physically and verbally. I can remember seeing my mom's face in like slow motion when my dad's hand was about to hit her in the face. She already knew what to expect, so to speak.
And it was my stepdad for over 10 years, and he began to beat me when I was 7 or 8 years old. He threw me into windows. He had pinned me up against the corner in my room. I couldn't, I was like a prisoner in my own bedroom. The only time I was allowed out was to go to school and come home.
In an alcoholic environment. My stepfather drunk for many years, and it took its toll on the kids. That's, if I think back, where it was, the abuse was never towards my mother, but it was a lot towards us kids, and I remember a lot of that. I tried to stay out of his way, especially when he was drinking.
I became violent at an early age. I hurt people and people hurt me, and I thought that was the way of life.
I had an abusive stepfather. I think he had addiction problems himself. Bloody noses, black eyes, going to school with lies.
Telling us not to make a lot of noise because he'd get mad at her, and his way of keeping me and my little sister from fighting was beating my mother, because that would take attention off whatever was going on between my sister, and we would focus more on my mom, you know what I mean?
As a counselor here at Westcare, my clients have shared on several occasions that most of the reasons of domestic violence has been caused by substance abuse, including alcohol use. They have mentioned to me on many occasions that they have witnessed family history of domestic violence.
Well, I came home from school one day and I came home with a C. I was supposed to come home with an A or B.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't like that very much, and so he told me to go to my room, and so I was unpacking my backpack, getting ready to do my homework in my room, and he comes in and he says, you know what? He called me all these dirty names and stuff, and he picked me up and threw me in my bedroom window. And I have a scar right here on my forehead with a piece of glass still in it from that.
It's just a raw subject, when you think about, how you were abused, right from wrong. We learn that when we're a kid, right from wrong, and sometimes our parents beat it into us.
She got to a point where she was actually like her hair was falling out and stuff, from being so nervous and things like that. And I thought a lot of times it killed my father.
I grew up watching my brothers, their relationships with their girlfriends, wives, or whatever, very violent. They used to beat them to where they couldn't walk, talk, anything.
It gave me a complex, I guess you could say, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Of fear all the time.
Sure.
And then, I remember him telling me, if you go out of the yard, I'm gonna bust your ass. And his thing was either he was a mechanic, take a radiator hose off the radiator and beat my ass with that, or depending on the circumstance of how bad I was, it was going to be a switch, which is a limb off a tree. And the worse I was, the more limber it was, the more greener it was, and he wouldn't stop beating me until it broke. So it wasn't too bad, it'd be more brittle.
Right.
But if it was really bad, he'd take the leaves off and they could hit you here, but get hit over here too, Which he used to tell me, it's going to make you more of a man.
Right.
But like I said, he didn't break me. He broke my spirit, which is I'd rather have him broke back and not be able to walk than someone break my spirit.
Main cause of domestic violence is when people are under the influences of narcotics. They have also shared that when they are unable to obtain their drug of choice, they find themselves very agitated, very angry at people, which also contributes to a lot of the domestic violence in the family issues as well.
We did so much drugs that he'd get angry if we didn't have it, or even if we did have it, and we just start fighting over the stupidest little things, and it got really bad at one point, and he hit me and actually beat me and tied me up, and I stayed with him. But every time he hit me, because he'd also choke me out, and every time he'd do something, I'd think of what my mom went through, something that I was more comfortable with. Well, she went through it with it, might as well stick with it.
Quite a few years ago, I was on drugs, and I was under the influence, and I put my hands on my mom. And,
the lack of coping skills. Coping skills meaning that they encounter some negative events in their life due to, the substance abuse, that they have no knowledge of coping with day-to-day situations that occur, so they tend to express their emotions by violence.
Yeah, I went to school, didn't like the way this girl was looking at me, so I started pounding on her. At that time, it made me feel good.
One thing I can recall, one incident particularly was when I came home from work and she just got done mopping the floor, and I noticed her mopping, and I know she wanted me to praise her, but I walked in and I had my boots all full of oil, and I just put my feet right on the floor, and she goes, "I just mopped the floor." And I go, "That f***ing job is just to mop the f***ing floor. That's what you're here for." And I remember the look in her face was just like, it's like throwing a cigarette on the floor and putting it out. You just demoralize somebody.
Why did you do that?
I honestly, I don't know now.
And to me, it was like, oh, well, it was my fault. I caused it to happen. And I think that's what I had my mind set at. Every time we got into a fight, it was my fault, at one point or another.
And this girl loved me. She loved me for who I was. And it was just something that, like I said, it was fueled by drugs and alcohol, and it was bad. I hit her constantly, left bruises on her, It got to a point to where, that's the only attention she got, and she got that attention. That lasted for about 10 years. And then after that, my breaking point was when it leaded off to my mother,
But I just told her the other day, because I got an argument with my girlfriend, and I told her, "Mama, don't ever let a man talk to you like that." But she's gonna go by what she hears, and I check myself on that now. Due to being sober, it's weird when you get sober how you think before you say things now.
Right.
And then you say something and you change your thinking process, and you're like, "Damn, I wish I would have done that last year, man. I could have had this friend still, or this wife or whatever."
Domestic violence is preventable. Domestic violence is not acceptable. It affects a lot of people, not just the victims or the victimizer. It affects society as a whole.
When I finally realized and opened my eyes, I found the help that I needed, and that was in Westcare and the AA program and the NA program. Drug court saved part of my life too.
Between coming here to Westcare and having the help of the courts and going to self-help meetings, they give you a lot of ammunition. Today I'm a better person because of what the Narcotics Anonymous program has given me and what Westcare itself has given me. I don't have to go and deal with these things the way I used to.
But the good thing about it is I seeked help, and here in Pahrump they had the help I need. Today I live a clean life. I'm married, got 4 kids, and I do not verbally abuse them. I do not physically abuse them. I do not mentally abuse them.
If you have that question in your head, why am I still here? Why am I still living my life the way I am? Only you can think about what you can do to change it. You can only help yourself first in order to get the help. Because you got to make that choice to put the foot out the door and the hand out to say, "Hey, I need help."
A punk will hit a woman, verbally abuse them, physically abuse them, I was a punk. These places actually saved my life, you know what I mean?
If you're in an abusive relationship or around an abusive environment, get away as soon as possible.
life is beautiful, and that I didn't have to live like that, and love didn't have to hurt, and it didn't have to hurt to be loved.
Well, that's quite intense and serious video. That's very well produced and a little depressing, but that's the nature of the subject too. So, and you said that was shown where?
A couple weeks ago, they actually showed it in drug court. So I'm trying to remember her name is what's her name?
Wanker.
Yeah. Judge Wanker. She at the end of the night, one of the individuals that were featured on the video, Ricky, graduated from drug court, and so they showed that, and standing. I want to say there's a standing ovation and everything for him, just for being so transparent and graduating. So it's a real nice experience to be there and sharing that experience with them. So.
Well, I'd keep that for the groups that come up in Westcare and play it during their the treatment. For each group that comes in there. Yeah, that's very well done. I'd share that with other companies that do the same thing we do.
Right.
And see if they want to use that. Yeah, it's very well done. And
thank you.
Thanks to all the people I know, a lot of them that were in there too. And so yeah, it's really hard hitting. So the background is really great with the reddish background. And
right, that's a filmmaker style,
right,
trying to intensity and convey emotions and things. Obviously with the score, but the words themselves were very riveting, and there were a couple times that I had to take a pause and just kind of choke down some emotion, just because as transparent and courageous as the clients were sharing just some horrific backgrounds, and it's just them allowing their story to be shared like this. I believe is going to help a lot of people. So.
Yeah, you showed it in a proper perspective from what they were saying. So that it all blended very well together. So
thank you.
Thanks again. Yeah. So that's what Tony does. He does the positive action with the 12 to 18-year-olds, methodologies. You do the filmmaking now, and what are you going to be getting into? The filmmaking more, you said, with the kids?
Yes, we're going to probably work a lot with more public service announcements. I think a good game plan that we're going to have is every holiday season coming up, we want to do some sort of holiday theme, sort of commercial. The thing about it is, which is kind of I'm trying to instruct these kids. A lot of these kids that come to Positive Action are really good kids, and they're not experienced to a lot of these negative backgrounds that we talk about. I myself, my father was a methamphetamine addict, and when I was in high school, I grew up around that environment. And so I'm trying to show them there's a balance. There really is a balance of getting out good information, being entertaining, even having a little comedy, but being careful on the way you poke fun at certain things, because I've been on that negative end of that, and some of that stuff is very hypersensitive. And again, we could easily be teasing somebody or poking fun at someone when we don't have a clue that, hey, when the young lady was 15 years old, she got pregnant, and I'm sorry, she didn't get pregnant, but she got raped, and her mother helped her cope with it by giving her a rock of methamphetamines. I feel that we shouldn't be poking fun at that necessarily, because we don't know their backgrounds. So
yeah, bully tape would be good too.
A bully, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's a lot of issues we have, and we're addressing it in today's society.
Right.
But just some really good stuff you're doing for Westcare, and you should share it with the Westcare in Las Vegas too. So.
Right, Kevin. I think Kevin's got a few copies, and
good.
We're putting it on the Westcare Facebook page, and we're starting to figure out a YouTube page. I was told to, submit it to them so they can
Yeah,
keep
great.
pushing it forward. So
A lot of good material we have over at Westcare, and if you want to find out more about it, you can call Tony at 751-6990, and your extension is 225. Tony Mendoza, another veteran. We're two veterans here.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm an old one from Vietnam. You're a newer one from Afghanistan.
Right. Yep.
And you're not going back, right?
Unfortunately, not. You know, I wouldn't squawk if they wanted to send me again. So.
Well, that's the way I was when I first came back to. I was still gung ho, but that's way in the past. I ain't going no place anymore. But I'd like to thank you again for spending this time with us and sharing the evening with us. Remember, we will be showing this on YouTube in the near future, so if you want to see this, share this with other people. It will be there for them to see. Next week we'll be back. Maria should be back, and thank you very much for watching us. We're on 46.3, 41 on 6:30 in the morning on Sundays, and consult your local listings. So thank you again. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for watching, folks.